Welcome back to Chat Like a Native.
Today we're getting into something I think is critical for every English learner, how to bridge that gap between, sounding correct and sounding real.
Absolutely. If you've ever felt like your English is technically perfect, but I don't know, a bit flat, or you find yourself just using good or nice all the time, this is for you.
Right.
We're going to focus on making your language vivid and powerful, but without needing a bunch of complex words or, crazy grammar.
And that's the shortcut, really.
Yeah.
The big difference isn't about vocabulary size. It's about being able to paint these instant focus snapshots of your life.
So the benefit for you listening is pretty immediate. You're going to walk away with actual concrete tools you can use every single day in conversations, small talk, even in an interview. You can finally stop feeling like you're using textbook English and start describing your actual life, your world.
And the secret to all of this is something we call micro scenes. They're just tiny snapshots of daily life that replace those general statements we all make. The key technique here is show, don't tell.
Okay. And to help everyone remember the core building blocks for this, we came up with a little mnemonic.
We did.
We're focusing on SVS. Just keep that in your head. S is for show, don't just tell. V is for strong verbs. And the final S is for senses, SVS.
That's it. Show, verbs, senses.
Okay, let's unpack that first big idea, that good English isn't actually about complexity. I hear this all the time from learners. They'll say something like, my day was busy.
Right. And it's correct. It's 100% grammatically correct.
But it's a dead end, conversationally. It's just a fact. It doesn't give me, the listener, anything to connect with.
That's the perfect way to put it. It's a fact, not a feeling. A native speaker, when they share something, they try to immerse you in the feeling of it. So instead of just saying, my day was busy, they might describe the moment it all stopped.
How so?
Something like, I finally sat down at 10 p.m. and the silence in my apartment felt so heavy my ears actually started ringing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that connects immediately. You don't even need the word busy. I can feel the exhaustion just from that one image, the ringing silence.
And that's the core of a microscene. It's not a huge story. It's a short, focused picture. Think of it like a single, well-composed photograph, not a whole movie.
So super specific.
Super specific. The moment you open the fridge, the sound of the traffic outside, the feel of your coffee mug, that specificity is what makes it interesting.
And what's great is that because it's based on your own life, your desk, your bus stop, you never run out of material to practice with.
And it's short enough to practice daily. You can just say it out loud or jot it down. It
Right.
brings us right back to that main principle. Show, don't tell.
Okay, explain that distinction a little more. Telling versus showing.
Telling gives the listener the fact and then forces them to supply the emotion. Showing gives them an image, and it lets them come up with a label.
Okay, give me a classic example,
Yeah.
an emotional one.
All right, let's take, I was nervous before the interview. That's telling. You just stated the fact.
Right, I was nervous.
To show it, you might say, in the waiting room, my hands were so sweaty that my phone almost slipped right out of my fingers.
I get it instantly. I feel the nervousness without you ever saying the word.
Exactly.
That's so powerful because it just uses simple, everyday words. But here's the question I think a learner would have. How do you start doing that spontaneously in a real conversation? Doesn't it slow you down to stop and think of a sensory detail?
That is a great question, and it's a critical point. In the beginning, yes, you practice it deliberately. Maybe you write it down first or just speak it
Yeah.
slowly to yourself. But your brain learns the pattern very quickly.
So it becomes a habit.
It becomes a shortcut. You train yourself to prioritize verbs and senses. So you go from thinking, I was mad, to asking yourself, what did my body do when I was mad? Did my teeth clench? Did I slam the phone down? You focus on the action.
Let's do a few more quick everyday examples just to really build that SVS muscle.
Sure. Instead of telling, the classroom was noisy.
Try showing.
Try showing. Chairs scraped against the floor, and 3 different conversations crashed into each other at the back of the room.
Okay, I can hear that. What about being tired instead of just, I was very tired?
You could show it by saying, I stared at the screen for so long that the words just turned into blurry gray lines. You see the exhaustion in that image.
So we've established the why. We want micro scenes. We want to show, not tell. Now let's really get into the how. Those 3 tools we've grouped under SVS. Let's start with the first S, sensory details.
Right. Tool number 1, senses. This is really about retraining how you observe the world around you. When you describe a moment, you just have to ask yourself, what did I see? What did I hear, smell, feel, or even taste?
But the key thing here, I think, is that you don't need all five senses at once. That would be way too much.
Oh, definitely not. That would just overload the listener.
Yeah.
2 or 3 specific details are more than enough to create a vivid scene.
So, like, take a boring statement like, the bus was late.
Okay, the bus was late. Now let's add 2 senses to that. The bus was 10 minutes late. The sun was pressing on the back of my neck, and I could smell petrol from the road.
And boom, now I'm standing there with you at the bus stop. I feel the heat. I smell the fumes.
And there's a really simple practice pattern for this. When you're just starting, you can just complete the sentence, I am at location. I can see her smell, feel 2 specific things.
And then just try to combine them.
Exactly. It forces you to get descriptive.
Okay, on to the V in SVS strong verbs. This is where I think a lot of people get stuck. We're taught to use a lot of adjectives to be descriptive.
Right, and adjectives like nice, good, bad, happy, they're fine, but they can make a sentence feel really slow and, well, heavy if you overuse them. Verbs are the engine. They create energy.
So let's take a basic verb like walked. It's fine, it's safe.
It is. Compare. He was very angry and walked into the room loudly. It's okay. It uses an adjective, angry, and an adverb, loudly.
It gets the job done, but it's not memorable.
Not at all. Now, what if we said he slammed the door and marched into the room?
The verbs slammed and marched do all the work. They show the anger without you ever needing to say the word angry.
Exactly. So when you're practicing, look at your weak verbs. Instead of ran, did you maybe sprint or dart or shuffle? The verb choice changes everything.
Which brings us to the final S in SVS, simple figurative language. This sounds a little scary, maybe a little too poetic for everyday chat.
It doesn't have to be. We're not aiming for Shakespeare here. We're just aiming for clarity. Stick to the basics.
Yeah.
Similes and metaphors.
A simile uses like or s.
Yep. My brain felt like a slow computer. Or his voice was as scratchy as an old vinyl record. They give you an instant comparison that people can latch onto.
And a metaphor is a little more direct, saying something is something else.
Correct. My inbox is a jungle. Or that meeting was a black hole for my time. But I'd say for learners, start with similes. They're a bit easier and just as effective for painting that quick picture. You only need one. Don't overdo it.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me. It's not just about adding details, but choosing the right ones.
Yes. This is a crucial step. Choosing the right detail is way more important than choosing many details. If you add too much, the scene just gets heavy and the listener tunes out.
So we have to learn to cut the boring stuff, the obvious stuff. You know, like when someone describes a scene and says the sky was blue and the sun was shining.
We know. We assume the sky is blue unless you tell us it's like purple. You can cut all of that. Focus on the one detail that actually changes the feeling of the scene.
So instead of that long list of obvious things...
Focus on the impact. What's the feeling? Instead of listing colors, maybe you say, thin clouds drifted over the football field while the sun pressed down on our backs.
Right. Now I feel the heat and that slow movement. It's an experience.
And the rule for this is pretty simple. Write it all out first if you need to, then ask yourself, what's the single most unique or impactful detail here? And just delete everything else.
That's a great skill. Okay, and that choice of detail depends entirely on point of view, or POV. Whose eyes are we seeing this through?
Absolutely. The details that stand out to a person are filtered through their emotions, right? Through their situation. A scene described without a clear POV is just a list of facts.
Okay, let's go back to that crowded market example. If I'm describing it as a tourist, I'm excited. I'm going to notice different things than if I'm a tired worker just trying to get home.
Exactly. The tourist might see a pyramid of bright yellow mangoes glowed under the sun, and the sound of music spilled from a tiny doorway. They're tuned into color and novelty.
But the tired worker...
The tired worker might experience it as, every shout from the cellars bounced off my head like a hammer. The sound is an attack and not a fun experience. The feeling is completely different.
So the first step when building a micro scene is to decide on the POV, even if that POV is just, your own tired, hungry self at that moment.
Always. The details have to match the perspective.
And this isn't just for telling stories. This is so fundamental to just sounding natural in day-to-day conversation.
It's the ultimate cure for awkward small talk.
Okay, let's talk about application A, small talk. Someone asks, how was your weekend? The standard reply is, it was good, thanks, and conversation over.
Total dead end. But with a micro scene, you could say, it was great, actually. On Saturday morning, I just sat on the balcony, and the city was still half asleep. Only one shop down the street had its lights on.
See, now you've given the other person an image, something to actually respond to. They can ask about your neighborhood or what shop it was.
You've opened a door for them.
What about application B, speaking exams or interviews? You need to sound professional, but you also want to be memorable.
Yes. Don't just say, my hometown is very beautiful and quiet. That's what everyone says.
So what's the alternative?
Deliver a micro scene. In my hometown, you can hear goats before you see cars in the morning. And the air smells of dust and fresh bread at the same time.
Wow. That's original, it's personal, and it makes you stand out immediately.
It shows you can communicate an experience, not just list facts.
Okay, so we're convinced the SVS principle works. But how do we build this into a daily habit? We need that 4-step training plan you mentioned.
Okay, this has to be a conscious exercise. Just once a day is enough. Step 1, 1 moment, 1 minute. Pick a tiny, boring moment, waiting for the kettle, sitting at a red light. And for 60 seconds, just notice 2 or 3 sights, 1 or 2 sounds, one thing you can feel or smell.
Step 2, speak a rough version. Just get the observations out. Don't try to make it perfect. I can see the driver's red cap. I can hear the radio playing an old song.
Step 3 is the magic step, the upgrade. You immediately apply SVS, add one strong verb or a simile to that rough version. So the radio is playing an old song becomes the radio is whispering an old love song.
Or changing the seat is hot to the seat is as hot as a frying pan.
Perfect. That instant upgrade trains your brain to make that substitution automatically over time.
And step 4 is optional, but you recommend it.
Highly recommended. Write it down. Just a sentence or 2. This builds a little micro-scene diary for you. After a week, you'll have 7 amazing, vivid little anecdotes ready to go for any conversation.
Before we wrap up, we should definitely touch on the common mistakes, the traps that learners fall into when they try to do this.
Yes. The first is just using way too many adjectives. We see sentences like, my big, beautiful, amazing, wonderful dog.
Right.
The solution is to cut most of them. Pick one, and then focus on the verb instead. My wonderful dog darted across the park. The verb is doing the work.
The second trap is the cliche. Cold as ice, busy as a bee. These phrases are so overused they've lost all their power.
When a cliche pops into your head, the trick is to change one part of it to make it personal.
Hmm.
So instead of cold as ice, you say, it was as cold as my office at 7 a.m.
Make it specific to you.
Make it specific. And the last big trap is direct translation from your first language.
Of course.
You come up with this beautiful phrase in your own language, but it just sounds odd in English.
Mm.
The key here is to ask yourself honestly, have I ever heard a native speaker describe this situation using this exact phrasing? If the answer is no, then you need to listen for how they do it and adapt.
It's such a fundamental shift in approach. It makes you realize that vivid English doesn't come from a huge vocabulary. It comes from your ability to make the listener see and feel and hear your world.
From the sound of the neighbor's TV murmuring through the wall to the feeling of your phone buzzing in your pocket, these are the moments.
When you start thinking in English pictures, not just in English grammar rules, that's when you really start to sound natural.
You've nailed it. That's the whole point.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to consider right now. If you had to describe yourself in this exact moment in one micro scene, what unexpected sensory detail would you choose to show your current mood or level of focus?
Not, I'm interested, but what sight or sound or feeling captures that for you.
A great challenge. Start your SVS practice today.
And just notice how quickly your language begins to change.